Hi, good afternoon. We're here with Matthew Dunne from Despatch Cloud. How you doing, Matthew?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you very much for joining us today. Excited to hear this interview. So if you would like to get things started and just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, what the business does, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Yeah, no problem at all. So my name is Matthew Dunne. I'm from Driffield in East Yorkshire, and I run and own a company called Despatch Cloud. And what we primarily do is post-purchase technology for e-commerce businesses. And what that actually means is if someone is selling online, no matter where it is, the standard places, Amazon, eBay, maybe their Shopify store.
Yeah.
What we do is we don't help them get sales or do market or anything like that. What we do is once they've got a sale, we help them get that item to their customer as fast and effectively as possible. So we do everything from helping them work with different couriers to helping them work with warehouse processes, to making sure their customers are up to date and get nice emails and messages saying stuff like your parcel's out for delivery, etc. So we help with all the post-purchase side of e-commerce, and we've been doing it now officially since 2015, but I've actually been doing it since about 2009.
Okay, cool. A long history there. So,
yeah, exactly.
that time frame, 2015 up to the present day with Despatch Cloud. Over the last 3-4 years or so, I say 3-4 years, but the pandemic, I'd like to ask everyone what their experiences of that was, if you were able to share what the biggest impact of that for you as a business was, please.
Yeah, so as a business, maybe quite controversially, the pandemic was probably one of the best things to happen to e-commerce. Because unfortunately, although it was, on a personal level, a terrible thing to happen, for a business, it meant we got very, very busy. And I think all e-commerce businesses got very busy because as things started to shut down, people were in their houses, everyone started to order online. And, as we are working with e-commerce, post-purchase, people were ordering more, so we got busier. And, there were a few businesses that we worked with that unfortunately weren't able to weather the storm. But on the whole, we got a lot busier and I saw a lot of new businesses. One of the very interesting things about the pandemic for online retail was that I think, in my view, it accelerated online retail about 15 years.
Yeah.
And we saw a lot of bricks and mortar stores that had never been online, going online to save their business. And not just the ones that you would think, but stuff like freshly made food going online as well. So not just stuff going out on a normal courier, but a lot of same day stuff. And I think that to e-commerce, the pandemic made everyone a lot busier. So it had a positive impact on Despatch Cloud.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, fast forwarding those things, even just the way we're communicating now, and
exactly
over Zoom and making that kind of a normal thing. So in terms of the changes that you perhaps made because of the pandemic and because of the growth of your experiences, are there one or two that you could share that you were maybe forced to make that have then stuck with the business because they've been beneficial?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the key things that happened with the pandemic, with the first lockdown, was people having to work from home a lot more. Being a tech company, we've always allowed people to work from home, but there was an expectation that everyone would meet up, come into the office at regular times. That's gone now. Very rarely do people ever come to the office. And we are a full work from home business, so we have no plans on reverting that. It's meant some significant challenges. Meetings like this are great, but it's not as good as being sat in a room. It's more difficult to read body language and stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, it's been positive. As a business owner, I was worried about lack of productivity and all that kind of stuff. But I think it was more in my head than it was a reality. I think, actually people are just as productive as they were. And, that's definitely something we're going to keep. Being a tech company, security obviously was important. So we had to change some of the things to allow people to securely work from home. But that's all done now and it's positive. It's interesting because if you'd have asked me before the pandemic, do I ever see us being a completely work from home business, I would have said no. And now I'm used to it. My team are used to it, and I can't imagine us changing it, to be honest.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that share. So what does the future look like from this point, as far as you can tell? And no one's got a crystal ball, obviously. And what do you see as the main challenges going ahead?
So I think quite interestingly, now the pandemic is, I want to say over. I don't know if it is officially over, but certainly things are starting to go back to normal, or are back to normal. E-commerce has actually slowed down a bit recently. So it's actually, there is a significant downward trend. I think doesn't mean it's not still growing overall, but it's certainly not at the peak it was at. For us, we're continuing to improve our technology and continuing to look at how we can bring extra value-added services to our customers. With the current cost crisis that we've got going on in the UK, every penny counts. So we're looking actively at how we can save people money and how we can improve their efficiencies and our efficiencies. We're investing a lot in new tech, post-purchase, and we're doing quite a few interesting things with AI, because our goal is that if you order something offline and the retailer you order it off is using our software, that it's as cheap and as efficient as possible for them to get that to you. But more importantly than any of that, that you as the customer have the best possible buying experience. So we're working very hard to look at what we can do to ensure that when you order something, you get it, and while it's on its way to you, you know exactly what's going on with it. More importantly, if you have a problem, it's easier for you to send it back to the retailer. So, and we're doing that ourselves and working with lots of partners in the industry.
So that sounds great. Thank you. So moving on to yourself then as a business owner and reflecting back to date on what the biggest learning is, biggest lesson that you've had since being a business owner. If you can pick out one, might be a couple. Appreciate it's a big question.
Yeah, so I think, I think when you first start, I didn't leave school and think I'm going to do post-purchase technology for e-commerce. Like that wasn't the thing that I thought I was going to do. I fell into it like I think most people do. You know, I was originally just building websites, and I met a client down in London. He had a particular need. I built him a solution for that need. That turned into what we've got now. So it was pure accident. But one of the things I think happens when you're building a business is you do everything yourself, because that's just a natural thing. You know, you do everything yourself, and you think, you know, I can't pay somebody to do that. I can do it myself. And you don't value your time. And I think that, and I don't, even to this day, I don't always value my time. And it's very difficult. And I get told by the people that I work with, you know, you need to delegate, you need to delegate, you need to delegate, which is a very difficult thing to do. But it is really important, because the team that you build around you, you haven't got a business if you can't leave it. So if you can't leave it for a week, you haven't got a business. You're just self-employed, right? So yeah, being able to have a team around you that can do everything and keep the business going without you actively having to be involved day to day in every single thing that happens, that's a business for me. And that's what you want to aspire to. And if you haven't got that, you've got a problem, because it means you can never take any time off. But more importantly than that, your business starts to stall, because you're not thinking about what's next or where we should be going. You're not having meetings with people in a calm manner, discussing, you know, what you could be doing to accelerate or change the course of your business to match demand, which, you know, happened a lot in COVID. You're dealing with the day-to-day stuff, and everything else goes out the window. So one thing is, you got to build a team, and you got to delegate to that team. And the other thing is, and this is interesting for me with my background, I've got a bit of a background in education. I used to teach, is that I don't care what qualifications you've got. I care what you can do. Yeah. So like, you don't need a university degree. You don't need a college, you know, course to program. Just learn to program, and then contact me or other business owners like me and show us what you can do. You know, when we put a job advert out for developers, we get hundreds of applications. I have zero interest in your qualifications. I'm only interested in what you can do. And if you can prove competency, that's all I care about. And I think that I'm not saying in any way, shape or form that education isn't important, because like when I went to university, I learned a lot of stuff that was very, very useful to me, mainly about how to research and how to write and how to do all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But it certainly, to me, isn't a barrier not having that stuff. And I think that the whole world is changing. The fact that you now can work from home means no matter where you live in the country, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can work. And there's huge opportunities in development and programming. And if I was to go back to when I was 18, I might not do the exact same thing I fell into doing, but I would definitely be doing something to do with tech and programming, because that is where the opportunities are, and it's an amazing thing to get into, and it's very rewarding. There's no better feeling in the world than going into a business, working with them to solve a problem, and then seeing the results of what you've put in place have a real world impact on them and their staff. It's a very rewarding thing to do. I put a post on LinkedIn last night because I quite often now receive my own labels when I order stuff to my house. So I'll order online, not knowing I'm ordering off, and a parcel will come, and occasionally I'll recognize the label on it, and it's one of the ones we've produced. And that's quite an interesting feeling, and I get excited and giddy about it for no reason other than the fact that I think, you know what, this has actually turned out quite well, and that's quite a cool thing to get your own label back to you.
What started off as an idea, and
exactly,
it is reality. Yeah, brilliant. Exactly, good shares. Thank you very much for that. I was going to ask you about advice for if you go back in time, meet yourself at 18. You've kind of covered it, I suppose, maybe a bit there. Is there any words of wisdom that, having the experience you have now, that if you met yourself at 18, what the best piece of advice would be?
All about focus. Find one thing that you're good at, focus on that one thing, and get really good at it, because you don't need to be the master of everything. You really do. You need to find one thing, focus on it, and learn it, and be good at it, and push that forward. And I speak to a lot of people every week in all different businesses, all different walks of life, and one of the things that I see is a very common trait of business owners is that they've got amazing focus and they don't give up. And lots of people start businesses that fail, and then they go and get a job. Why? Start another one. It might not fail. Even if you're on number 10 that's failed, and number 11 might succeed. It's all about focus.
Brilliant. Love that share. Thank you very much. So what inspires you to do what you do? It could be the team that you work with. Obviously, just reference them. It could be anything that you're reading or listening to. It could be friends, family, or your clients, your customers, things like that. Anything that you use for inspiration at the moment?
Quite weirdly, it's because I like solving people's problems, and I just get a kick out of it. I like someone telling me that they've got an issue, no matter what that is. I mean, we might go into a business and they might say, our real pain point is that we have to put barcodes on all our stock as they come in the door. And I'll be like, okay, yeah, I understand why. What can we do about it? And coming up with creative ideas about how they could change their process, or they could change it, or, it might be, we sell to X area, we can't get a courier service to go up there, so finding a solution to that. And that is a really rewarding thing to do, to sit around the table with someone, or to go to people's businesses. I mean, I've been to thousands of people's businesses over the years, and the amount of stuff I've seen, from multinational, huge companies going around their warehouses to, small companies working out their garage, and everyone has problems. Like there is maybe a perception sometimes that if the bigger the business, the less problems they have, because they must know what they're doing, right? It's not the case. They all have problems, and it's very fun and rewarding to try and solve them problems. And it's also fun and rewarding to go in somewhere and see something that you didn't think yourself was possible, and think, that is genius. How did they do that?
Yeah.
But it's like having behind the scenes access to the internet and e-commerce, and be able to see how it all works. And as someone who's a bit of a techie, it's just very interesting. So I get a kick out of waking up every morning, speaking to business owners, listening to their problems, and working on solutions with them. And I think that's a very rewarding thing to do.
Yeah, well, a great points that I think you've raised there in sharing that. Thank you. In terms of you have the perception that everyone's or large businesses or other business owners, maybe like they've all got it sorted and this is all perfect. But as you say, behind the scenes, everyone's got things that can be improved, continuous development, things not quite working right. They just keep on going and they keep on going and try and fix things. And that's kind of the reality of the situation. Nothing's perfect, and there's always problems to be solved. So thank you for that.
100%.
Yeah, brilliant. So lastly, if there's any latest news around Despatch Cloud that you'd want to share, so it might be things that you're up to as a company, or latest releases, or even if it's just directing people towards what you do, a website or anything like that, feel free to share.
Well, I'll do a bit of a shameless plug, but in reality, we are about to launch a new product to the UK market, which is called Orders, and it's aimed at micro businesses, and it's really designed to take a lot of the stuff we've learned working with medium to larger companies and make it accessible to smaller businesses. So that is coming out imminently. But really, if you are selling online and you have a problem, any problem, it doesn't matter what it is, just give us a ring or go on our website. We might not be able to help you, but we'll certainly try. And that's what we enjoy to do. So if there is a problem out there that you've got, then speak to us and we'll see what we can do for you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Matthew. Been good talking to you. Appreciate all the shares that you've got there. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.